All right, let's get this thing rolling. So, I got this thing that came in today. Basically, our frequently asked, list container causes the preview rendering to fail. Turns out it causes the entire page to fail. So, come along with me and let's figure out what the heck is going on. I think I know, but we'll figure it out. Boom. Branch created. Oh. I'm going to do this. Just helps if I can type in English on the other screen. Boom. Cool. Oh, sweet. Somebody's watching. Yo, what up? Alright. So, let's pull up New Relic. Just figure out what is going on and why is the 500 happening. It's a view exception, so there's something going wrong. But hey. Alright. Alright. This is undefined property. PQ container name. I wonder if that's actually line 3 or if that's the compiled view line 3. Alright. We're going to take a look at it in vendor first. Just to see like if it's a quick fix. We'll make it like here, run it locally. If it works, cool, we'll bring it over to the other package and then update. Or let's see if something else isn't required. Tip tap. This is a private fork of the filament tip tap editor. I think AEW Codes created it. But we had some really not super uber custom, but custom enough that it's like it wouldn't make sense to contribute that upstream. So, but it's not in there. We are using TipTap, but we're not. That's not where the problem lives. It's in Web CMS. I'm just dying over here apparently. Web UI. Resources, it was an FAQ. And what did it say? Container? Online. Yeah, FAQ container. Okay. So that's the thing that's saying it doesn't exist. So this is rendered in view tip tab FAQ container. But that's just the view where it would be the custom block that I want. Page builder. Filament, tip tap blocks, FAQ, list block. Okay, so the FAQ contain. I should really think about how I. Okay, so that's the FAQ list. That's the container. Okay. Oh, that's okay. I should probably change how those are named because that is a little confusing. So we want the FAQ list name. Resolve FAQ list. This name equal first FAQ. Okay. Let's see. It is coming over. We've got the DB pulled over. So now, just to run it locally, I don't want to edit prod. I want to look at dev. So we'll just change the tenant stuff to local. Yeah, we do this for, let's see, Hope Church dot, nope, Hope Church escape dot test and MPC core dot test. Send that up to the things, and let's try it. It's gonna run really slow because it's local and the database is not local. That's something that I want to change, but it's not the end of the world right now. Let's see, what's the stack it gives us? It's a thinking. Okay. FAQ container name. Okay. So, now that we know for a fact that that's what's going on, I want to come here, and I just want to see what these two are. Yes, we are making edits in the vendor directory. Why? Because it's easier than committing changes and sending them up, then doing a composer update, only for it not to work. Besides, I own both of these, like the package that the problem exists in, so that's a real simple fix. Okay, so ID name, FAQ list, FAQ container. So I wonder if this is a simple mark you dummy type of situation. All right, so FAQ list. What did we say it was? FAQ list, okay. So then let's see what we got in here. FAQ list, save, refresh. Okay. FAQ, okay. Okay, so let's try this. Name. Watch it freak out. Hehe, freak out. Okay. Wait, is that an array? So I normally have like two screens going on, and one of them is OBS. So I'm kind of flying blind right now. Okay, so it's FAQ container, FAQ list. See, the thing is that I don't understand. Let's just try it at index 0 and see if that's the issue. I don't think it is, but it could be. If it can container as array. Okay, yeah, that wouldn't make sense. So if the FAQ container is the render FAQ block FAQ container. Public FAQ list. That's a name. So why this name equals FAQ list? View library, view list. Okay. It's the items of FAQ item. Okay. Are we even at any point setting this name like it's just running? It is. FAQ list 34. Yep, it is running. So I'm just curious, like FAQ list items, because that's working. Actually, we don't know that it's working there because that is failing before it even gets there. So it could be, yeah. Okay, so let's try it like this. FAQ list, FAQ. Oh, you freak. No, that's not it. Let's just try it like this. FAQ list, FAQ list. Let's see what just happens there first. That's stupid. It's simple, but it's stupid. I don't like that at all. FAQ list. I guarantee you I'm going to go back and change. Oh, well, I didn't get rid of DD. DD needs to go away. DD? Stay out of my secret laboratory. Yes, that is a Dexter's laboratory reference. Okay. Okay, sweet. It's rendering. Well, we love that. That's beautiful. That is totally the average. This is even better. Look at that, guys. That's beautiful. Okay. So the good news is this ticket's technically solved. So I'm going to copy this over into WebCMS. And did I create the branch? Did I? I might have been NPC. I don't think I did in update. Yes. Check out. Well, no. Yeah. Okay. We're just gonna do this all in one ticket because why not? It's all related. It's all the same thing. It's the same component. Create a new branch in GitHub. Could I have just created the branch locally with the IDE? Yes, I could have. But we use Jira for this project. And I used to love Jira, like unironically, legitimately loved it. And it was great when it was like just me for like the little projects that I would do to dump a bunch of ideas into Jira tasks. But then I onboarded a couple other individuals on into Jira and permissions and all of the fun stuff, getting that wired up and configured. Ended up being about 57 million clicks to get anything done. So I decided that I'm just going to build my own system because I kind of have one, like, sort of written. Not fully usable yet. What was this? The container view? Container.blade, yeah. It's kind of written. It's kind of an amalgamation of Jira, HubSpot, and ServiceNow, because it's kind of like a more than a project management system. It's like an all-encompassing thing. But the project management module is basically more or less done with as far as like basic CRUD goes, but it doesn't have like the auto processes that we have in Jira. So that's kind of the thing that's holding it up. No, not view. I want resources. Tip tab. Render. Container. Alright. And this is a web UI. So web UI. Fix improper reference. Object key reference. It really doesn't matter like what exactly I say in the commit message, because when the PR is opened, it's gonna be it's a squash commit, so it all just kind of goes. But in the PR, I still kind of want to, like, if I go to view it, it's like I kind of want to know. Like, the likelihood that I'm going to go back and figure out what the heck happened is very little to none. But it's always possible. Alright, so... Okay, so now we got that. I'm thinking... click expanded. Answer. So I think... Well, let's do the same thing over here just to make sure, like... Alright. I think. Let's get rid of that, really. Yeah, that's fine. No, I need... Tip, tap, converter as HTML. And that was answer. Probably gonna need to do the like allow or don't do the escaping thing, but for now. Interesting. Let's just see what happens with that. Also interesting. this HTML answer. Answer me. Alright. Try it like this. I wonder if we did it here. And as HTML item answer, and then if we just did and helps if I can type in English. Alright. I don't know if that's gonna work, but hey, surprisingly enough, sometimes I'm not a complete and total moron. Alright, so we'll pull this over into Web CMS. That's the item. And BC core, this is the container. Pull that over as well. Okay. And Web UI fix rendering of FAQ question answer format. And we'll go ahead and send it up. Alrighty, we'll go in the CLS, CD up to Web CMS, CLS, analyze. Let's go ahead and run PHP stand, make sure everything is bueno. Just gonna let it sit for a second. Oh, look, Dax worked on auth today. I thought the JavaScript people always said they shouldn't have to roll their own auth. Oh well. Welcome to the dark side, Dax. Sweet. Alright. So we'll go ahead and pop over to GitHub and create. So this is what I'm talking about, where we end up squashing everything at the end of the PR. So we've got our CI runs that are going to start running. So what this beautiful thing does here is basically checks if like a PHP file or the composer files or some other like configuration files have been changed. If it has, then everything should run. What format title does is literally just takes the format of the name of the PR and compares it to the branch name. The way that my workflow is set up is you're supposed to create the branch from Jira, and by doing that, the PR's name is kind of like embedded in, and this is just like a regex to know where it's supposed to put the brackets and stuff. It said that the files were changed. Git check status, so it's like, hey, these are the files that were changed. We're setting should run to true, and that checks the Boolean in the workflow. These are like all the files that were changed kind of exist right after here. And it also says, hey, this is the file that we found that triggered us to run the entire workflow. And it's really just like, hey, if you find Just tell me the first file that you found that matches these conditions. I don't care where it is. I want to know what triggered it. This thing just does. It's just a bash script. That's all it is. Bash and like JQ in. Yeah, it's just boom. Hey, there it is. Bunch of URLs. I didn't leak anything here, did I? No, I think we're good. Oh well. Second analysis. Oh, Duster. Yeah, this is fun. It's just Titan's Duster. We used to run it like in their Docker action, but another repo has set up a little bit differently to where we need some Composer scripts to run all the time, and the simplest thing to do was just switch it over to use just Composer install. All of these actions are not actions, but like workflow steps are like reusable, callable workflows. So changing it over in that one central repo kind of changes it everywhere. And if I want it to behave differently, it'll actually, like, I can pass different like configuration values in. Static analysis. Hey, we're great. That's fantastic. I love that. PHP Stand had version 2 released this morning, and it started failing, but I didn't update to PHP Stand version 2. So it runs, but now all of my beautiful decorations in CI, like this would normally be green, saying, "Hey, we good," and then because it wasn't Dependabot that opened the PR, it's not going to even try to auto merge it. Alrighty, so there's that. We'll go ahead, and since I'm the only one in the GitHub org, I kind of override things, but I put that checkbox there to like make me really think about, like, do you really want to do this? And the answer is yes, I do. 9 times out of 10, I'm completely cool with that. We'll go ahead and update. I can delete that locally. It's gone in origin 517, so 518. V 0.5.18. Boom, boom, boom. And it goes into a private Composer registry. We use Composer status. It just runs on like a cron job every 5 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and go in there though, because I don't feel like waiting. So I'm gonna just SSH into it, run the command to force the build to happen, even though it's 56. It ran a minute ago, so I didn't feel like we're waiting another 4 minutes. So it runs, it scans everything, and boom, it's been built. I'll go ahead and hop out of there, and actually I'm just going to close that entire session just in case. Term. I'll go to my GitHub directory, cd mpc core cls, and we're going to go ahead and run Composer update. It's probably going to update more than just the thing. That's fine. Just going to go ahead and let it do its thing for a moment. There's a lot of packages that get pulled in. I mean, a lot of the functionality of this application are reusable, like internal packages. So it's like, oh, you're pulling in a crap ton of stuff, but it's not like a package for everything. Oh, yeah. We don't use data transfer object. That's from a documentation package that we use, and it's local. And then the SEO one is an internal package that I just kind of like, that doesn't need to be a package anymore. So, yeah. It's doing the thing, guys. It's doing the thing. And let's just run static analysis real quick just to make sure we all good. There should be no reason why this would fail because we didn't change anything like in this application specifically. I mean, we updated Composer, but that was it. Did we? I wondered. I was like watching it, but I also like wasn't paying attention. Did we update to the latest version of Web CMS? Like, did it actually do it? 5.18. Yeah, it did. Sweet. Nice. And yeah, sweet. Alright, so come back here. Yeah, that's fine. We do want, well, I do want that. I have a lot of the .idea directory ignored, but there are some things that do get committed. Basically, because this Mac is really good at indexing stuff pretty quickly. But like my Windows machine that I have for like some specific hobby things, sometimes I'll pull it up in there, and it not so good. I have no proof that committing these, like some of the files that I use for caching, actually do help, but like other times it's like it's useful to have in there for reasons. Alrighty, fix FAQ container. Commit. Push. Alright. So we'll go ahead and close that. We'll close that. We'll close that. And we'll go ahead and create the pull request. Here's the fun thing that I really like. I like the little niceties of automating things. So I create the pull request. Boom, pull request has been created. Let's pop over back to Jira real quick, because one of the things that I absolutely hate is just inefficiencies in process. So, you know, they have an integration with GitHub that you can react to things based on automations, or based on events, and you can write automations in Jira. You'll see, as I was saying that, this changed to under review and this changed to 0. So one of the things that I set up in Jira is basically for every time that a branch is created, we're going to increment the branch count up by 1. And every time that a pull request is opened, we will decrement this number by 1 until we reach 1, at which point we'll drop down to 0. If we set this to 0, we should advance this from in progress to under review. Too many times have I forgotten to update the status of a ticket, and I am of the opinion that by me opening the PR, that is an action that I have taken. This is context that these systems should be aware of between each other, and therefore, let's automate that process. Because if a PR is open and there's no other branches in any other repo for this particular ticket, then we can safely assume that it is under review. So while it's working, it's just going to go through the process. It's going to, you know, should we run the entire thing? Yes, we should. Are we going to format the title? Always. The cool thing is that if this branch name was different from the like Jira format in, you know, when we created it, it would just say, hey, this is not the format that I'm supposed to apply formatting rules to, so I'm just not going to apply formatting. The same is also true that if the name of the PR is what the output would be, it's also not going to perform the formatting. The reason for that is because that's, API calls that have to be made to GitHub, and if it's already in the end format or not in a format that we've told it how to format it, just skip over it. Don't do it. It's not the end of the world. Code style, a little bit more important than PR title. Static analysis and testing, yeah, I definitely want these things to always run. So we'll just wait for this to finish up, and then I'll show you what happens in Jira after something gets merged. So static analysis is done. Testing normally follows within like 30 seconds of that. There's not nearly as many tests as I would like, but it is what it is. All right, so let's go ahead and squash and merge that. Gets merged down, so let's pop over to back to Jira. Two things are going to happen. You'll see. It's done. So we set the status to done, and we set the resolution to done. And what you'll also see is that shortly thereafter, it sets it to pending release. I've seen a lot of different places do things differently. Like my day job, when something's done on one of our projects, that means it's in production. For another project, done just means it's been coded. And because that other project is an on-prem project, the release is kind of managed a little differently. But for this project, and basically all of my projects, done just means that the coding work is done. Pending release, it still needs to go out into production. So this workflow sets the resolution, sets it to pending release, and the dates, the actual start and the actual end are set when, we moved it to in progress versus when we moved it to done. When we've set it to pending release, we also added it to the fixed versions, 24.x version. So for Jira versioning, it's year dot month dot the number of times we've released in that month. So the first release is, so the first release of November of 2024 would be 24.11.0. And so now that that's good, this is a little tiny, it's a tiny fix, but I want it to go out to prod because they're waiting on it. The marketing team at church, and it's kind of stopping them from doing the things that they need to do. So this can go away. 746 was the last one, so V 0.7.47. 747. And we're going to go ahead and push. By pushing, we're sending out to prod. So what happens when we do that is that's MPC core actions. It's going to run the tests again. It's going to sync the branches, the branch over to the release branch. The reason we do release branching right now is because this thing releases out to DigitalOcean app platform, and for some reason, you can't release from a tag. You have to release from a branch, and they're kind of the same, kind of different. If you look at how the checkout command works, from what I've seen at least, I could be just saying that wrong. But by syncing it over to that branch, I can do a redeploy if I needed to without accidentally sending dev code out. There's feature flagging, but it's not the best. It's literally on off, and not everything should be feature flagged, so we don't. So once it syncs it out, this is a DigitalOcean action that we call that uses their code that builds the release, and you can monitor the release in GitHub Actions and stays up to date. This just creates the release in GitHub. So this is gonna get bumped up to v0.7.47, and then you can see here's the things that's changed. Just these little niceties that make everything better. And then once it's gone out to production, immediately after that, these three are like the three components of it releases all three components of the application in one action, but we then have to tell New Relic for each of those components that, hey, this version's gone out. So that way we can see as things change in New Relic, what version caused that change to occur. So we'll go back to Jira real quick. This is going out, so we're going to go over to releases. And I got to just remember what the last one released was, 11.6. So 24.11.7. So I just renamed the thing. And the way that it's set up is I don't have to go in and then create 24.next version. I have automations that take care of that for me. Anytime that release is either released or edited or whatever, it'll go through and just create the next one. So I'm going to set the release date. It is today. The driver is me. It's always me. The approver is me. It's always me. I'm a one-man dev shop, so that's why. But I like keeping track of this. Just for my sanity's sake, because if I know that if any of this is not filled out in a way that I would fill it out, that means I probably shouldn't have been releasing, because that probably means I was way too tired. All right, so let's just go back and check. So yep, it's deploying. Yep, so you'll see that it's building, and then let me just pull this up. And I'll just share a screenshot because I don't want something to accidentally show up on stream. If this will load. Go to build logs. Oh, we love that. I'll just pull the whole thing up. It gets formatted weird. But yeah, it's building the thing, so as it builds in DigitalOcean, and this shot is not specific to me, that's coming from DigitalOcean because it's not a Docker application. As it's built, it's deploying, so you'll see in like DigitalOcean it'll change over to deploying, and we'll just wait for this thing to finish up. And once it's finished, I'll go back over to Jira. Oh my gosh, that's funny. So I got Twitter opened on the other screen, and Nate, famous for being in the Primogens Twitch streams. Wow, Mark, English is you're rocking it. Tweeted something funny out, and I chuckled. Subscribing on mobile versus subscribing on web. If you know, you know. So yeah, it's just deploying. Wait for it to finish up. Alrighty. Yeah, we're just chilling right now, just waiting for this to wrap. Let's pop over here and see what it's doing. NPC US1. Going to the deploy logs because why are you taking forever? Sometimes it deploys really quickly, and other times not so much. Hey, it's active! And yeah, it's just on the demo domain for now. And you'll start to see that these will pop up. Really quick, I'm gonna pull one of them up because I don't know what info shows up in them, so I don't want them to like show things. yeah, I don't want to show this, but it's basically just sending a payload of like what's the deployment ID, what's the deployment type, the GUID of the entity in New Relic. That's the part that I don't want to show. I think it's funny that they call it entity GUID, considering it's not a GUID at all. The timestamp, you know, the Unix timestamp, the user, which was me, so it uses my GitHub username, and then the version that was tagged. So yeah, it's been released into production, and now I'll come over here and just mark it as released. And I do that after the fact for a couple of reasons. One, I don't want to accidentally mark it as released, and then forget to release it. Two, when I mark it as released, it fires off another Jira automation to automatically transition everything from pending release to released. And on top of that, once it's finished transitioning all those issues over to released, it'll actually send an email to myself and then the rest of the team saying, hey, we just did a production release. Here's everything that is in the release. So yeah, that's essentially what I do when I'm releasing the MPC application or working on it and then, you know, fixing bugs and releasing it. I like to keep those releases small, especially when it's like something super important. It's like, we'll just do this one thing. Probably, you know, on average, release, depending on what's going on. Sometimes I'll release 2 or 3 times a day. Sometimes I'll release, you know, once or twice a week, depending on the types of things that are being worked on. But yeah, that's basically it. And I kind of had fun streaming, you know, what I've been working on. So I think I'm going to wrap it here and yeah.